Good morning, Kingsley community. Pastor Colleen Wehrman here, coming to you with another daily devotion for Monday, October 5th, 2020. Shout out to my hubby. Happy anniversary. 24 years. Wow, it's a miracle. The Chosen, 40 Days with Jesus. Today's devotional is entitled Relationship. Gospel of John, chapter 2, 23 through 25. Now, when Jesus was in Jerusalem at the Passover feast, many believed in his name when they saw the signs that he was doing. But Jesus, on his part, did not entrust himself to them, because he knew all people and needed no one to bear witness about man, for he himself knew what was in man. The writers write, from Adam's first breath, God was watching every choice, every thought, every motive. Can you imagine what he saw? I'm sure he saw love, but I'm sure he saw lots and lots of sin. Jesus was doing amazing things in Jerusalem, and the people were in awe. They followed him around and listened while he preached, no doubt motivated by the things they were seeing. In other words, as long as the people were experiencing miracles, they were willing to stay. But being in attendance, being in awe, being emotionally impacted, and even believing the supernatural doesn't always result in a relationship with Jesus. Here's one case in point. Now, this is Jesus healing the lepers, and there were 10 of them. And this comes from Luke 17, verses 11 through 19. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was passing along between Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered a village, he was met by 10 lepers who stood at a distance and lifted up their voices, saying, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. Now you notice right at the beginning it says, on the way to Jerusalem, he was passing between Samaria and Galilee. Now Samaria, or Samaritans, were a mixed race of Jewish and Gentile believers. And Jesus always had time to stop by there, but many of the Jews stayed away from the Samaritans. And so between Samaria and Galilee is where we find these lepers, because lepers were outcast from their city of Galilee and probably right on the border of Samaria. Because if you were a leper, you couldn't be in anyone's home, you couldn't even be in your family's home, you'd have to be on the outskirts of town, and people would have to bring you food to survive. So they say, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said to them, go and show yourselves to the priest. And as they went, they were cleansed. So first they had to say, have mercy on us. Jesus had mercy on them. And then they went to the priests, started walking. So they had to do that. They had to believe. And then they were cleansed as they were walking. And as they walked, one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice, and fell on his face at Jesus' feet, giving him thanks. Now he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus answered, Were not 10 cleansed? Were all the nine? Was no one found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? And he said to them, Rise and go your way. Your faith has made you well. So the lepers were a mixture of Samaritans and Galileans, probably. And so only one of them came back to give thanks to God. The writers write, the lepers called him Master and begged for their mercy, and Jesus obliged. He sent them to the priest because, according to the law, lepers had to show themselves to the priest to be considered clean, and then they could go back into society and go to temple and the synagogue and the temple and all of those things. So these 10 went, they obeyed, and along the way they were miraculously healed. After they went to the synagogues, and the priest did indeed pronounce them clean, only one of them came back out of the 10 to thank Jesus. Why? Jesus posed the same question in Luke, but it was rhetorical because he knew what was in this man's heart, this Samaritan's heart, because he had been watching him from the beginning. Far too often, people want the perks of a relationship with Jesus without the actual relationship. They take credit when things go well and offer up Hail Mary prayers when things go badly. They attend church, but only on holidays. They want assurance of heaven while maintaining devotion to the world. They have a faith someday mentality. I'll go to Jesus when I'm older, when I'm done living my life on my terms. But unfortunately, human terms are sin-soaked. Jesus is looking for people who are willing to run to him, to fall on their knees, to repent, surrender, and worship him for who he is, and to learn to grow in faith. That means that we remain even when the miracles cease. Jesus knew what it was in people's hearts. It's the reason he came. And so, true believers aren't just in it for the miracles. They have been fundamentally and irrevocably changed by Jesus himself, making relationship with Jesus the ultimate prize. So only one of the lepers came back. And the other 9 had nothing to do with Jesus. They just wanted the miracle. They wanted to be healed. And then they wanted to go about their life living the way they wanted to live. But not this Samaritan, this foreigner who came back, fell at Jesus' feet. Now remember, Jewish people and Samaritans not very often hung out. But this Samaritan knew that Jesus was the Messiah. And so he approached him reverentially and laid at his feet, repented of his sin, whatever he had done. That didn't cause the leprosy. It's just whatever was going on in his heart. And came back and he thanked God. So today we have a couple of questions. One of them is, when's the last time you thanked God? Even though there's no miracle, even though there's no cure for what you're going through right now, or even though there's no immediate reconciliation that you can see at this point in time in your life, how are you giving thanks to God for him being there through it all? One of the questions we have is, can you think of a time your relationship with Jesus lagged? I just talked about that yesterday, about losing our passion. And what miraculous changes has Jesus made in your heart since you started following him? And finally, moving forward, how can you embrace heart changes over physical ones? So know that, I just read this on Facebook, that sometimes God is doing miracles and it might be he's extending your years of life, but you don't know it yet because you haven't lived them yet. So even though you might not be getting the exact answer to the prayer you want, know that God is answering it and he's with you. So I hope this was helpful to you today. I will see you tomorrow for another devotional. Bye-bye.